Life, or a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Tuesday. It's August 19th. The market's looking a little tepid, a little bit in correction territory. Was this the shortest alt season ever? 2, 3, 4 weeks? Or have we ain't seen nothing yet? I think you guys can probably guess where my view is. How you doing today, Nick? I know we got some other news stories to cover. Maybe we got some charts to go over as well. Are you feeling, oh, it's all over and here's the multi-year bear market, or is this just another, hey, 5-10% correction after nearly all-time high was hit on Ethereum?
I mean, we'll talk about the charts here shortly. I got to get this shared everywhere, so you got to entertain these people for a few seconds. But doing well here for another daily live show, and there's a lot of news to go over. Sharplink gaming news, we've got Thomas Lee news, we got Google search news, Google trend news, and we got the historical 4-year halving to talk about as well. We do see that Trump and Putin met, Trump and Zelensky met, no peace deal yet. Trump was on Fox and Friends this morning live. I didn't get to see that, but he's probably bullish on the USA and bullish on the market. So it'll be interesting throughout the day to see what kind of news clips come out of that and how the market reacts to that as well.
I am skeptical that war is going to be solved in the near term. Just feels like Putin is really not. I mean, he's not interested in a peace deal. That's at least in terms that he's going to be willing to accept. And then on the same side with Ukraine. So I think this war is going to grind on despite Trump's best efforts, and obviously, I commend Trump for doing everything he can to end it. But who knows? Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised that the parties come to an agreement. It seems like they're pretty dug in physically and metaphorically as well. So let's see how that plays out. Fingers crossed. I don't think it makes a big difference on the markets whether that war continues or not. I mean, it would be nice to see it resolved, obviously, for humanitarian reasons. But I think the market would maybe go up a bit if it did get. If there was a ceasefire or got settled, but I don't think it makes a whole heck of a huge difference in markets. I think bigger, obviously the bigger factors playing in the markets is you got Jerome Powell speaking at the Jackson Hole conference, I believe today or sometime this week, and he normally does give some indications whether the Fed is looking to cut rates, stand pat, or increase rates. Last summer, you'll recall, things are playing out very similar to last summer. If you recall last summer, they kept rates high throughout the entire year, even in the face of people like us banging our fists saying, cut the damn rates, Powell. He kept them high up until he felt like he had no choice because the labor market was deteriorating a bit. Inflation had been under control, and so finally in September, they went for the jumbo cut, right? So will it play out the same? But then if you get even more granular, he went at the Jackson Hole conference, same time last year, and basically sort of hinted or indicated what direction they were going in. And so today is a big moment of truth. He'll speak at the conference, and we'll see. I mean, he may just be very mum's the word, and he may not indicate one way or another. But last year, I believe he did sort of hint at rate cut, and that helped spur the market on towards the end of that August into September, and obviously the end of that last year we went bananas. So will it play out the same? We'll see. My guess is it's kind of similar, actually, because, hell, we've been on record saying the labor market's looking bad. We know that after the big readjustments downwards. Inflation, nothing to be super concerned about. We have a few more readings, I think, coming out between now and the rate cut on September 16th. But my guess is very similar story here, and we'll see what Powell has to say today. But people should hang on to their hats. This bull market has tons of room to run. Remember, most of the run-up we've seen, in fact, all of it, has been during a very restrictive monetary policy from the Fed. This bull market has not occurred in a expansive period, low rates, liquidity being injected. That has not happened yet. And so, if you're a betting man, I think you should be on the side of rate cuts are coming and market has room to run. What say you, Nate?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Sorry, I am a little late here. Lost track of time. Been dealing with a few things. We got the Tortoise update for the airdrop released today. If you haven't had a chance to look at that yet, we released the list. There was 213 or 212 people that had originally joined the competition. All the details are in there. You can look at the sheet, see if your name is on there. If it is, there is 3 colors. As a green means you did everything right. Congratulations. You are ready to go. You need to do nothing else but sit back and wait for that airdrop to hit your wallet. Number 2 would be the yellows. The yellows, you did most of the stuff right, but maybe your email got mixed up because when Tortoise checked the list, your email did not show up. So if you're in the yellow and you do remember actually going and signing up on the Tortoise platform, DM me. I'm in the group. Shoot me a DM and just simply say, hey, this is the email that I registered with. I'll check it against what you put in the form. If it doesn't match, we'll get it back into Tortoise. They can double check again and hopefully get you added to the airdrop there. And if you're in the orange, that means you did not fill out the verification form when it came out, or the information, or maybe you changed your Telegram handle since then. It was a long time ago. Things happen. It was like 6 months ago when we filled that out. So if you're in the yellow and you think you did everything correct, read back through the rules. I pinged them in the list there of what you need to do to qualify for that. If you think you should qualify, go ahead and DM me. And we can take a look and see if maybe, you just missed the form, or if some of the information didn't match when we tried to search and verify. Anyways, please check that list. Please check the message I put in there with the instructions. If you're not one of the 212 people on that list, please do not DM us. Please do not DM the Tortoise team. Don't hassle us. Sorry if you're not on that list. The competition was a while ago. Maybe you came into the community late. Maybe you chose not to enter that raffle and enter tokens, but that list is correct. That came directly from the mini app. That list is not up for disputing, but if you're on that list and you're in the yellow or in the orange and you think you should be in the green, let me know. We'll get you sorted out. You got 1 week to do that. After that, we are going to officially close this. We can't put this off any longer. We're going to go ahead and proceed with filing and getting that that airdrop sent out there. So thank you again for your patience. And yes, we will have that out hopefully here in the next week or so.
Yep, shout out to everybody who participated in the Surf community members. That is another perk of being part of Crypto Paradise, getting random airdrops for projects that are launching. So figure that out. And if you don't figure it out, that's on you. I don't know what to tell you. On to the next topic is we got some charts here. We got a lot of people in the YouTube chat box. For Twitter, for some reason, Riverside does not bring the comments in. So if you're on Twitter watching, that's where most of our viewers watch. Those comments don't come into the live show. If you want to live chat until we can figure it out, get over to YouTube and watch it out. Just search Crypto Paradise. But you can see Bitcoin here, breakout of the bull flag, and it is retesting the green line. It keeps wanting to bounce off it. It bounced off it yesterday. It bounced off it this morning. Are we going to hold or are we going to go lower? We shall see. I will say that we are near oversold on the RSI with the bullish divergence. That's where price goes lower, but RSI remains higher. That is a bullish indicator. And we do have a 39.78 on the technometer. This is the Wyckoff technometer aggregate. That is oversold. Historically, anything below 40 on Bitcoin is a buy, especially in a bull market, which we think we are at. So I think somewhere near here is a major low for Bitcoin. Do we see a wick to try to liquidate some shorts? Maybe. But somewhere down here is going to be a major low for Bitcoin moving forward. And let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Like, how is that going? Still below 60, which is what you want to see. You want to stay below this white line if you're an altcoin fan. And we want to see Ethereum start to surge again and this thing fall off once again. If you look here, here was the bear flag we were talking about. Now, let's look at this again. Doesn't this kind of look like another bear flag forming? That would be pretty nice. Put you around 57 to 58% Bitcoin dominance, which would mean that Ethereum could be surging. Ethereum lackluster here after the 4,800 target was met. Sitting on major support here around that 43.50 level. We do say that downside risk to 3,900. This will just be a bullish retest of the breakout. So nothing crazy going on here for Ethereum just yet. I know it feels slow, the slow grind down. But again, major lows coming on Ethereum, whether it's right here right now or the 3,900 level, major support. And going with that, we do have Thomas Lee was live on air or did a Twitter that one of his analysts said that major support is on a similar uptrend line that I have showed here, around $4,100 Ethereum. And why that's interesting is it's kind of him fighting his own bag for it to drop another $100 because Bitmine owns a ton of ETH. But maybe that means they're raising capital to buy that $4,100 dip. And along with that, Sharplink Gaming announced today they bought another 143,000 Ethereum, but they bought it at an average price of $4,600. But don't you worry, they didn't use all their cash. They're still sitting on $84 million in cash to deploy in ETH buys on this dip at some point. So again, you got Thomas Lee looking for 4,100 as major support. You have technical analysis saying 3,900 major support, and you have Sharplink Gaming that is sitting on $84 million to buy the dip somewhere here. So when is the exact low? I don't know, but is the bear market started? Not in my opinion.
Because they know this bull market has legs, and legs. We're good, guys. We are absolutely good. And by the way, if you dig into Tom Lee's comments a little further, he basically goes out and says 4,100 is where we expect this, dip to sort of consolidate, and then we're going to see it run to, I think it was 5,700. So he believes the next leg up or next move is going to break through its previous all-time high, past $5,000, that big psychological barrier, and up to 5,700, and then we'll probably have a correction. And then you know how these things go. It's never a straight line up. So I think we're in great shape. I don't know anyone panic selling right now. You shouldn't be. Again, I think people are sort of just waiting on what Powell's going to say today, and then depending on those comments, we either go up or down.
Yeah, if you feel bad for the guy, he's the biggest ETH bull out there, and the ETH Foundation's dumping on his head. Not how you want to treat your biggest supporters, but some of we're seeing right here, ETH leverage short positions at a record high. Now, a lot of what this is this is spot holders. There's a ton of liquid ETH out there, and as those big spot holders, what they're doing is they're taking out hedge positions on centralized exchanges against their liquid bags of that ETH right there as the price goes down to try and hedge their risk on that there. Another thing is kind of adding to that pressure. We've currently got around 900,000 ETH, about $3.9 billion currently stuck in ETH's exit queue. Essentially what that is, ETH limits the number of validators that are able to pull ETH out of staking. This is to help obviously keep a huge flood of ETH coming on the market at any given time. I think it's like 1,800 validators at a time to restrict that, to keep it from to help make the proof of stake a little more stable is what I was reading about it. But essentially my guess is what we have here, these are people that bought last cycle at the top and they've been staking and holding and waiting for an entire 4-year cycle to come back around. And now that we're getting close to those all-time highs again, people are starting to unstake and add to that queue so they can get some cash out. These people probably like, screw this, I've been holding for a year, finally back to break even, I made some money on the yields while staking, I want to wash my hands of this and be done, or do something else, or look into another possible investment as we get back to these all-time highs. So that's probably my guess what you see this backlog of almost 4 billion ETH here is. So yeah, definitely going to see some continued volatility and some sell pressure in the markets here as we move forward. But yeah, I agree with you guys. Think this is a temporary, dip that we're seeing. How long it lasts, how long we consolidate and go sideways, don't exactly know.
Well, I'll tell you what, the same thing that happened to Bitcoin is happening now with ETH. And by that, I mean, we've seen over the past 3 or 4 years, a transfer of wealth and transfer of Bitcoin from the early people to basically the new institutional Wall Street buyers. Case in point, guy who bought $50,000 worth of Ethereum back in 2013 and sold it a month ago for $9 billion. The same shit's happening with ETH. The ICO guys, the other early investors. I myself bought ETH early on, but I'm not selling. It's not a G. There's a lot of folks out there who, bought early, and now it's just getting transferred from those guys who bought early to, the Tom Lees of the world, and the Wall Street types and the ETF types. So it's all natural part of the process. Look, if you bought in 4 years ago at the high and now you're selling just break even, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? This is not good investing. But in any event, there is a queue there. I do imagine if all of that is going to be bought up over the course of the next 6-12 months as Wall Street continues to pile into the ETH trade.
Yeah.
So not worried at all. It's just a natural part of It's like a
If you
meme,
look
right? It's the early buyers, they're selling to the later buyers. This is just how it goes.
If you look at the ETH inflows, that 3.9 billion is going to get eaten up in like 3 weeks. So it's not going to be something
Yeah.
that's going to wreck ETH long term. But I like Elio's take on this. We've got the cycle chart here, a little different background than you're probably used to seeing it. But I agree with you. I think this is we had a great little run up here, first sentiment extreme. Now we got the bear trap. Everybody still got the PTSD from the bear market. Everybody's like, the market's overcycled. We see a lot of FUD on CT. It's just getting ready to rip to new all-time highs here.
Couple
So
things
buckle
here.
up and don't sell your coins to BlackRock.
Yeah, keep that chart up there. A couple things. Number one, that withdrawing of the Ethereum has been in the news and on the feeds for the past few days. So obviously that's probably some of the selling that we're seeing. People trying to front run that exit, and they think all of that is going to be dumped. Most likely that does get sold, but you don't always know. Sometimes people are just unstaking. Sometimes they're keeping it in the ecosystem instead of selling it for cash or selling it for altcoins, which doesn't impact ETH price quite as much. So we'll see what happens there, but I think that's some of the selling. And then number two, if you pull back the other chart, everybody's saying, okay, the bear trap one. Everybody's saying, that's the bear trap. Well, I guess historically, if you think we're going to top out in Q4, that could be the bear trap. But if we do break the 4-year halving cycle, what if this is just a shakeout? What if this is just a shakeout? What if we are going to 16,000 ETH? We're not going to 10,000. What if we're going to 22,000 ETH? Well, then we're probably not in the bear trap. We're in the shakeout, and we're going to have another ride, and then you're going to have another 30% correction when everybody thinks the market is over in the end of 2025, and that was the bear trap, and you're going to all get left behind, FOMO the top, and hopefully at Crypto Paradise, we can take profits along the way, and we'll see if our prediction of the super cycle proves true.
Well, that's kind of what I mentioned yesterday. That the Crown and Fiboswamy stream over the weekend, and that's a bit what they talked about. They said, we're expecting kind of this dip right here, which could be a shakeout, and then Fiboswamy expecting a run straight, run up to 45K, 145K, and then a serious pullback, like 30%, which could be exactly the scenario you just mentioned there, Hitman. This is a shakeout. We rip to 145. There's your bear trap where it drops 30% back down to like 195K, whatever. Everybody's like, all right, cycle's over, and then boom, off to 200, 250, whatever it ends up being. So, I don't hate that theory either.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, if the markets are truly driven by Fed policy, when we know they are to a large degree, and obviously Trump's policies as well, then it would be logical that this bull run would continue into 2026 because we know Powell is being replaced in May of 2026, and in fact Trump is going to announce his replacement well prior to that. So we could get in February, January, February announcement of who is going to be the next Fed chair, and if that person is viewed as very dovish, right, very accommodative, quantitative easing, so on and so forth, if that's their background and what their position has been, then you can expect the market to continue to move up. So, look, is there a chance this all comes crashing down in the beginning of 2026? Sure. That would be consistent with the 4-year halving cycle. But is there also a chance that this thing continues to run well past? I think so. And so maybe the logical move is to sort of hedge, kind of, take some profits on the way up, expect maybe there would be some pullback and, have some taking some profits by the end of the year, but to keep a moon bag, maybe keep a moon bag for 2026. I don't know. We'll have to keep monitoring things, and we'll see how it goes.
I just noticed the top comment on this post here. This is where we actually are, the shakeout circled. So yeah, I think a lot of like-minded people out there thinking that what the Hitman, what Nick Stradamus is predicting was
I'll tell you another thing. If everyone in the market thinks something's going to happen, usually that thing doesn't happen, right? So if everyone is like, top to end of 2025, there's probably going to be some surprise, and that's not what's going to happen. So, let's see. Let's monitor things. I mean, it's all going to depend on Fed policy, Trump. It's going to depend on geopolitics. It's going to depend on, do we have any black swan events that pop up? There's a lot of factors that contribute to price go up or down. But, I think I'm going to keep a moon bag. Past 2025.
Well, a lot of this here, too, could be smart money getting ready because this is going to take weeks to clear out this queue here, right? If these are people that are saying, hey, I want to sell towards the end of the year, they're not going to wait to unstake where they might get caught in a 2-month-long queue and miss their opportunity to sell. This could very well be some OG Ethereum guys that are looking forward and saying, okay, maybe towards the end of the year, I want to start taking some profits. I'm going to start getting my ETH liquid now. I'm not going to miss out on that much. I think ETH staking is like 9%. APY a year. So if they're, you know,
Try
unstaked and they miss
3.
a couple
It's 3 or
points,
4, man. I wish it was 9.
okay, yeah. So you know, they're willing to miss out on 1% of you know, yield on their Ethereum to have it liquid for when they do want to sell later this year. So they're not stuck in that queue then. So this very well could be some OG smart money that rather than people that are just looking to dump right now as they get to break even. Probably a big mix of both.
Well, you know what's going to happen, right? Let's zoom out 5 years from now. The guys who sold today, tomorrow, you know, getting out of the validator queue, whatever, or had ETH in any other source, they will regret it. Because everyone I know who's been in crypto for 7 or 8 years and has like sold a lot of it, they regret it 5 years later. Or they may even regret it 2 months later. Tell me one person you know that sold a bunch of crypto like 5 years ago and, you know, is happy about it.
Yeah, I was actually in a golf league yesterday, and a buddy's brother, you know, he started asking. I was partnered up with him. We do 2-man scramble pairs, and he was asking me all about crypto, trying to get back in. You know, last cycle, he's like, "Oh, I bought like Litecoin. It was 2 cycles ago. I bought Litecoin at like $15, and I sold at 300, and I bought a boat with it. Well, now the boat it doesn't work anymore. You know, we're 8 years later, and you know, even though Litecoin hasn't been a top performer, it's still worth, you know, $100 and $200 a coin. It would have been, you know, I could have done pretty well at rolling that over into other things. He's like, I had XRP at like 10 cents and I sold it at $1. I made 10x. I bought something and that item doesn't exist anymore. Now XRP's $3. So, you know, obviously you always want to take profits. You want to do real world items and businesses and debts, but it goes to show if you're buying toys like boats, they don't last forever. And the crypto that you would have had and the investing and the passive income would have built up pretty nice over the years, over the course of multiple cycles. And now here he is trying to get involved. And he's like, is it too late? And I said, well, if you wait a few more months, it's probably going to be too late. But if you get in right now, you're probably still looking at 2 to 5x on Ethereum, a 2x on Bitcoin, and maybe 10 to 50x on various other altcoins that are going to come to the market over the next 3 months, 6 months, and a year from now, depending on how long the cycle goes. And that goes with the rest of our title. Is the shortest alt season in history? Should you cash everything out? Is it over? That is because the alt season searches on Google have fallen off a cliff that rapidly once we saw the top in Ethereum at 4,800. But if you look at this from technical analysis, I mean, look how low this was, and you are putting in higher lows. You have a surge, a higher low, a surge, and now it is forming another higher low. So hopefully this continues up and to the right, and as this continues up and to the right, that means new retail is coming into the market, and things can start to get exciting again, and that means Ethereum is doing very well. If people are hearing about alt season, like, what does it mean, alt season? What does that mean? That means they're looking outside the scope of just Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, the retail interest is driven by the price. So price go up, retail starts searching again for stuff. I mean, they're like moths to the flame, you know, it's just, oh, price go up, must be good. And so then they come in. So Ethereum goes on another run. We break past 5,000. We're at the 5,700 level like Tom Lee is predicting. You better believe that coin interest chart will skyrocket back up. And then it takes a few months of consistent sort of price performance, I'd say, before retail starts to really deploy capital. But they will come back. I mean, yeah, they always come back. Look, people, I think, in their mind, always, okay, this cycle is going to be different. Retail won't come back or whatever. It always ends up being the same. You know, maybe on a different time scale or maybe at different timings or whatever. But ultimately, retail will come back here. They will pump your bags. They may not buy your exact meme that you're in, but they will come in, they'll buy the majors, and they'll buy Dogecoin, and they'll buy SHIB, and they'll buy, you know, ETH and Litecoin and XRP, just like they do every other cycle.
Well, this kind of tells that story right here. This is a total crypto market cap, multi-year cup and handle. For those of you that are not inside of TA, this is a very bullish pattern with a projection from the bottom of the cup to the top here, which puts us way up here somewhere. For the outlook on where the crypto market cap is going. So the plenty of bullish signs out there for those that want to look for them.
Yeah, man, we're in a good spot. We are absolutely in a good spot. I'm not worried at all. In fact, I'm kind of glad the market's a little bit sanguine right now. A little bit. There's a lull in the market because I will be in Tulum, Mexico this week, down to the Paradise Pad, scoping out spots. And Nick's coming down, by the way, to meet me there for the upcoming Crypto Paradise Retreat. So what a great week to get away from the charts, touch some grass or sand, as it were, do something a little bit different, obviously still in service of Crypto Paradise. but we'll be down there. So I'm almost glad the market's not going crazy because like you hate to be on vacation when things are going nuts and you're trying to be on phone calls with clients or get new business or jump on a random spaces or something, and it's like fuck, I don't want to deal with that when I'm on vacation with my family. So I'm a little bit happy. Take these weeks for what they are. Period. To step away, touch some grass. It's all good.
Yeah, and we love cup and handles. We had that cup and handle chart on Pulse Chain PLS that actually blew up, and now we're seeing a cup and handle on the total crypto market cap. And when those things get going, obviously you would like to see some kind of a breakout, a retest, and then an explosion higher. And like you said, with that measured move, you would be looking at a true alt season right there. That's for sure.
Damn straight.
Old season's coming. Old season's coming, folks. Again, I don't know if it's going to pump every single one of your bags, but there will be some big winners, and it's our job to find those winners for you guys, right? Maybe we can check out some of the projects we've been involved with. I know a lot of charts are looking a little bit mad right now, but I know 5 is sitting above 2.1 mil, I believe, right now, so they're in their nice little consolidation. Surf, we just had a big whale exit out, apparently. I didn't know this, but, community members, shout out to the Surf community members, always, checking in on the Dex Screen or Dex tools and watching this stuff. Apparently, a big whale, who I assume bought in the early launch period, is now fully exited his position, so that's always good to see. He was not a member of the DAO, by the way, because I saw we did not lose any DAO members. Always nice to see that. So Surf on a little bit of a consolidation here. I know we're looking to do some stuff with Mellow Man coming up, so we got some news around them soon I hope to share. So look, if you're in alts, you always, you have a choice to make. Buy, hold, or sell. I mean, I'm already fully invested in, I got no staples left. So I'm just holding on, as always, and waiting for things to get a little crazy again. But hey, this is a week where things are chill. All good.
Yeah, we got some Pulse Chain data here. I want to start providing this information more on Surf, too, once we get our dashboard. But this is why we're bullish on Pulse Chain, just the benevolent chain. In 24 hours, 100 million PLS was burned. 1.2 billion PLSX was burned. There was 36 million in volume when nothing really is going on overall in general markets, whether it's BNB, Solana, or ETH. 405,000 transactions. Gas costs are 10x less than Ethereum, and right now we know Ethereum is still very cheap compared to what we've seen in other alt seasons, and gas is 250 times less than Bitcoin when moving it around or trading it as well. So that's why we like Pulse Chain, and these burns keep adding up. Total supply is being burnt each and every day, even with low network utility and overall low sentiment in the altcoin sectors for crypto right now.
Looking forward to seeing Richard Hart and his real-world marketing campaign sort of become materialized here. I know there's been some news around that. I think some of the trucks have been sent out with these electronic devices, electronic marketing devices. So I think you're going to start to see Pulse Chain in the news a little bit more. You're going to start to see it on your feed a little bit more. You're going to start to see hopefully some, say regular people adopt it. We'll see what this marketing campaign really amounts to. But I've always maintained that Pulse Chain, a hidden gem, needs to be sort of brought to the masses. And for that, I think, man, we gotta get Pulse Chain listed on like a Kraken, a Coinbase, a Binance, let's get PLS listed on one of these big sexes. I know Richard Hart's against it, but that's how you get the guys that you do golf with. They ain't hunting in the trenches to find some obscure chain. They're just going on Coinbase and looking at the stuff that looks cheap and has like good volume. You know what I mean? So we need to get PLS on a sex.
What you got going on, Nate? You look like you're about to pull something up.
Yeah, I got a few more stories here. While we pull those up, I mean, overall, we've been saying this since the beginning of the year. The longer we continue to just climb and go sideways, climb and go sideways, climb and go sideways, the longer it's going to extend this bull run, and the larger the potential, or the higher the potential is for the ultimate top here. So I have no problem if we see, continue to see a slow August, slow September, and pick up later in October. That just, to me, tells us that we're going to have a much longer bull run. It's going to go a lot longer into 2026, and a much higher potential for the ultimate high on Bitcoin. And gives us more time to stack bags. I don't know about you guys, but I'm trying to get every scrap of money I can to toss into the markets here while we're still running. Because if you don't, you're gonna I know myself personally. If the bear market comes around, and I'm gonna look back and say, should have got more money in here, should have got more money in there, and pump my bags up when I could have instead of spending it on whatever, or not hustling while I could have. I think this is a gift. The longer we go sideways here. But speaking of the hustle, great positive story. Let me find it's not the one I was looking for. Here we go. Look at this absolute Chad, this legend here. This guy, man in Brazil, has been collecting and selling cans to buy Bitcoin for more than 2 years now, and he's closing in on his goal of having an entire whole, being a whole coiner. What an absolute legend, Chad. Shout out to that guy, but a great example. Now's the time, you start grinding, and every little bit helps. If you can find a way to make an extra $100 a week, to go out and scrape together some Bitcoin or ETH or whatever your favorite highest conviction play is, that's the kind of dedication it takes sometimes. Don't let a busy life get in the way of changing your life.
Hell yeah. Look at that guy. What a legend. I love this story. It's kind of the antithesis. It's the opposite of the story that Nick just told about his friend who bought a boat with his crypto, or myself. Exactly. I bought a TV with Bitcoin back like 7 or 8 years ago. So fucking stupid. So this guy taking things from the material world, moving it, translating into Bitcoin. Be that guy. Be that guy. Be looking to load up on this asset class for a 10, 20-year time horizon, that sort of investment time frame, excuse me. Don't be like, me 5 or whatever, 7 years ago, or your friend who bought the boat, taking your gains, buying something that's going to break, it's going to lose value quickly like a boat or a car. Don't be that guy. This asset class is going much, much higher, and I'll tell you, you'll be kicking yourself. I still am like, I look at that TV in my attic and I'm like, God damn it. That fucking TV. I can't believe I sold. It must have been like half a Bitcoin. I don't know how much exactly it was.
$50,000
decent amount of
TV
Bitcoin
now.
for a fucking TV. And just like, come on, man. So stupid. But, it's a lesson. It's a lesson, and it's a lesson I try to provide to you guys. Hold on to your crypto. If you want to buy junk, I'm not against buying junk. But you buy it with fiat currency. Buy it with fiat currency. Don't buy it with crypto, which is highly undervalued and is going much, much higher over the next 5 or 10 years.
Or wait till the bear market to buy it. Now's the time to be, scrapping money into appreciating assets, not depreciating ones. And I'm sure this guy's family and friends were giving him like, oh, what are you spending your weekend collecting cans for? What are you doing this? You're buying Bitcoin, blah, 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 and then if you, probably 5, 10 years from now, this guy's going to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire, because of the hard work he put in now collecting cans. So again, absolute Chad. Love this story.
Yeah, it just shows you even if you don't want to go out there and collect cans, which I wouldn't really want to do that myself. But if you're gainfully employed, white collar worker working at some office job, you're putting in your $500 or $1,000 a month in your 401k, surely you can find a little bit of extra money to put into crypto and dollar cost average into crypto every month. So be like this guy. Look, there's going to come a time when owning one Bitcoin is going to be like this monumentous thing. There's going to be very, very few people who can afford one Bitcoin. If you don't already own one Bitcoin, you're not going to be able to get one Bitcoin. When it hits $1 million, and I think that's in about 10 years from now, is my time horizon. We're at 2 more halvings. 10 years from now, Bitcoin could easily be at $1 million. So now is the time. I mean, even now it's hard to get one whole Bitcoin. But with DCAing, it can be your friend. There will be some bear markets in between where the price dumps and you can buy in more at that time. But be like this guy. Be like this guy. Collect more cans to buy more Bitcoin. Let's fucking go.
Well, when your Bitcoin does hit $1 million, you're not going to need to sell it because, as we've covered here over the past couple of weeks, there's going to be lending options. Just like right now, you can go out and what exactly all the wealthy people do: debt financing. They take hard assets and they lend against them. You're going to be able to take your hard asset Bitcoin and lend against it. You're not going to have to actually go out and sell your Bitcoin. So you're making an investment that's going to be a generational investment, not just going to be something. Okay, I'm retired, I better sell my Bitcoin. It's going to be, I'm going to be retired and I'm going to debt leverage my Bitcoin, and my kids are going to get it when I pass on, and so on and so on. So, now's the time, and the window in which that's going to be something that the average person is able to do is closing very quickly. So don't fall behind the game there. Follow the good examples. Don't follow the bad examples like these friends out here. Google, as Android's latest update, automatically deletes all crypto wallets, causing users to lose billions of dollars if they didn't back up their wallet. Guys, how many times we have to say it? Not your keys, not your crypto. please, for the love of God, I know they're making it easier with a lot of these wallets. You can sign in with your thumbprint and you don't need to remember your seed phrase. Do not lose your Bitcoin. Do not lose your crypto. Do not let your bags end up in, being the next story of the guy who's been digging through the dump for 12 years and finally gave up because he lost $2 billion in Bitcoin because you didn't write down your seed phrase. You trusted Google to keep your thumbprint and everything would be okay. So great reminder of practicing safe Bitcoin and safe crypto custody habits. Always, always, always keep your private keys. Never trust any of this new digital stuff that's coming out here. Yes, someday we might have some great ZK proof account abstraction stuff that really helps provide security with giving, backups of ways to reclaim that, but we ain't there yet. So, always, always make sure if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. Don't let this happen to you. I feel bad for all those that lost their crypto in this, but again, potentially up to billions of dollars, but lesson learned. You got time yet, start stacking bags again. And this time, I guarantee these people are going to remember to write down their seed phrases.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to see. I mean, it can always happen. It's not that that money is gone. So you don't understand that. It's just that if you don't have that private key and you can't import it anywhere, you can't access it. And you're going to be like the guy who spent 10 years looking in the dump for his hard drive because he didn't have the private key available anywhere else. So make sure to store it somewhere physical. Have it just in case, your Google gets reset or they have a new update or whatever it may be. You get a new laptop because yours breaks down. You're going to need that seed phrase to import. So that's a good lesson there. And hopefully nobody in our community was affected in a negative light by this.
Absolutely.
Well, this actually just adds to, I think, the bullishness that I feel about crypto and Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of Bitcoin, ETH, etc., that's been lost over the years. Estimates, I just Google searched this, 3 or 4 million Bitcoins have been lost forever. So yeah, the supply is only 21 million. 3 or 4 has been lost. A bunch of it's in the hands of Satoshi, who is dead or where I don't know what the fuck's happened to Satoshi, but he ain't touching those coins. A lot of it's in Michael Saylor's hands. So I mean, God, how much Bitcoin is left to go around? Not a lot, folks. So grab your hands on this stuff and don't cheat out early. That's the I guess the theme of this show. Don't sell your Bitcoin or ETH for a TV. Don't sell it for a boat. This is a 5, 10, 20-year investment. Treat it like your other investments. You wouldn't be selling out your Amazon stock randomly, because you think a bear market's going to hit. You just hold and you dollar cost average into the S&P 500 every month. Why should Bitcoin and crypto be any different?
Absolutely. Well, and this guy here, Jack Dorsey, very famous or infamous, depending how you look at him, has left since selling Twitter to Elon Musk, has become a Bitcoin maxi and started multiple different companies trying to work on Bitcoin adoption. And recently in an interview here talking about how believes Bitcoin is going to eliminate Visa, MasterCard, and big banks. A lot of Bitcoin maxis, this has been a big topic over the last year, especially, is about using Bitcoin as a currency. Jack Mallers and Strike, obviously creating rails where you can use Bitcoin as a form of currency to buy and sell stuff, transfer money. And absolutely, he makes a great point. If you simply read the first page of the Bitcoin white paper, that was its intended purpose, to create a methodology of transferring and verifying that money is being settled in the right accounts without double spends, without needing an intermediary like a Visa, a bank, a MasterCard, etc. So agree and understand all those points. However, we are not at a point where it makes sense to do any of that right now. If as we talked about ad nauseum in many different episodes and gone into deep, on today, if you shouldn't be spending your money, your Bitcoin, on cars, you shouldn't be spending, even if you can go to your local gas station and buy your gas with Bitcoin, cool. It's a fluff story. Like if you're selling your Bitcoin to buy consumables, to buy depreciating assets, it's a bad move. Yes, someday, maybe when, 30, 40 years down the road, or when Bitcoin is at a $100 trillion market cap and the price is fairly stable, it's not appreciating and doubling and tripling, quadrupling, cycle after cycle, then maybe it makes sense to start using it as a currency. And at some point, sure, there's the arguments that are made about as all the Bitcoins start to get distributed, when mining is no longer a viable option, we're going to need transactions to keep the chain alive, to keep validators in there, right? Sure, but we are not there yet. We are decades away from that happening. So understand the sentiment, like that we're seeing adoption with, you know, guys like Jack Mahler and Jack Dorsey here building these infrastructures. But in my opinion, they're way too early to be having these conversations. If you know, we should not be looking at Bitcoin in any sort of fashion as a crypto or as a currency of any sort right now. It should be an investment, a hedge against inflation, and a digital gold at this point.
Bitcoin's digital gold. I mean, when the Bitcoin white paper came out, there were no stable coins, right? And I don't think Satoshi could have anticipated that the price would double every year. But that's basically what's happened. So why would you spend, you know, an asset that's doubling every year on, you know, a car or gas or whatever you like you mentioned? You wouldn't do that, especially now that there's stable coins that are pegged to the dollar. Always, you know, and that's depreciation. So you want to spend your dollars. You want to buy and hold the hard assets, the digital golds of the world. And so that's the world that we live in. I don't know, you know, I'm sure Jack is a well-meaning guy and obviously very, very smart and successful. But to me, it just does not make sense to me. But you have stable coins. You want to use crypto and blockchain to eliminate MasterCard, Visa, and the third parties and the fees, et cetera, that are associated with that. I get all that. That makes sense. But you have stable coins. That's the point of a stable coin. And that's where the market, so I think that's what the market's realized too, right? Like Bitcoin is the digital gold. You know, Jack Dorsey can go out and say, oh, spend your Bitcoin. But the market isn't doing that. The market's saying, okay, Bitcoin's digital gold, stable coins are for transactions, and Ethereum is the network that's going to settle all these transactions that are happening with the stable coins. And that's why you see they run up on Ethereum and why companies are looking to launch their own stable coins. So the market is wiser than the opinions of one man in most cases. And so follow the market. Bitcoin, digital gold, stable coins are for transactions, and Ethereum is going to power everything.
Yeah, we've kind of gone over the charts. We've gone over Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, and Bitcoin earlier in the show, so make sure to watch the replay. We've gone over why we're bullish on Pulse Chain, and we've talked about a lot of macros and news that is going on right now. Not much to look at for the altcoin charts, but like Crypto Amaru said, fuck 9 to 5, we're in at 300K. It's back to 2.1, 2.2 million in a consolidation range. Dose, we're in at 100K. I think that's sitting right around 2 or 300K in a consolidation range. Surf token had a early day one whale that is fully out of tokens, still sitting above $1 million market cap. Rhino sitting right at $1 million market cap. PTGC sitting right at a $200 million market cap. So although nothing too exciting is going on, a lot of these tokens that we're in are sitting at higher levels, right in previous consolidation ranges, with a Ethereum low being imminent. Maybe there's downside risk at 3,900, but you probably don't want to panic out of these small caps, because it's going to be very hard to get your position back. You're going to eat a lot of transaction fees. You're going to eat a lot of slippage trying to FOMO back in, especially if the Ethereum low is closer rather than further away.
Yeah, I mean, something like Surf that's paying you every time there is a buy or a sell. You know, there's that reflection reward getting dropped to your wallet every transaction. You know, if you're long and you think this market has room to run, alt seasons, you know, still has plenty of legs behind it, why would you sell now? You know, it doesn't make sense unless you need the money, of course. But, you know, to me, you know, these assets that are paying you passive income, these assets that have strong fundamentals, good teams, good communities behind them, you know, this is not a time to panic sell the lows, the temporary lows here, which we're seeing on a few different altcoins that we're in are in consolidation phases, and that's just par for the course. You know, if you can't handle the volatility, the ups and downs, this ain't the market for you. So, you know, for those who can diamond hand it and you know, stay convicted, you will be rewarded when the parabolic phase hits.
Any final remarks from you, Nate?
Nah, I think yeah, stay safe out there. You know, we saw a great example why it really, you know, we get caught up in the excitement of the bull run. It's easy to get sloppy. You know, you need to stay focused. We're gonna have awesome entries, probably some of the best entries, you know, in the rest of this bull run in the next probably few weeks or months here. So don't get lazy. Don't lose focus on your bags, but also don't lose focus on your self-custody practices, or you might end up, doesn't matter how good of a trader you are, if you lose access to your funds, you're SOL, man. So
shout out to the 299 people on the live show at Crypto Paradise on Twitter. Shout out to, I think, 15 or 20 people over on YouTube. You know, obviously we want to get YouTube more popping. I wish some of these Twitter people would go to YouTube, just because that's where we can see the live comments, and the live comments really direct a lot of the conversation. But shout out to the over 300 people watching. And if you're watching from a link over on Discord or Telegram, shout out to you as well.
Yes, thank you all. I think we can wrap up today's video. The next few live streams will be held, at least on my side, from the Paradise Pad down in Tulum. So I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll be talking more about the retreats and how to get involved with those coming at the end of this year. But great stuff today, guys. And until next time, see you on the beach.